welcome everyone to the first ever live episode of Kiss Me Podcast 4K, the second coming. I'm one of your hosts, guy that's on some bullshit.
Oh yeah, and I am not sick. I swear to God.
Yes, we are not sick.
No, I'm staying away from you.
Yeah. So it's been a while. It's been a few weeks. We're finally here. We got it figured out. We promised you guys we were going to do it this time. And so, yeah, lots happened. Again, if you guys didn't see the little video we posted last week, congratulations to our wonderful co-host here. They just got themselves a new house.
We did. I think we officially got it all put together too.
Yes.
It's just a
Luke
couple
made
rooms
some
left to do, but I
cupcakes
think it's all put together.
Let's see. So, of course, a lot of madness going on in the world since the last time we've seen you guys. Hopefully, you all are doing well. I think we are for the most part, as well as we could possibly be. We're all weird anyway. Big shout out to fellow KISS podcaster over on KISS FAQ, Julian Gill. He had unfortunately caught the disease, but he's doing a lot better. So much so that they just uploaded a new episode last night, I believe. So,
Awesome.
Not sure if you'll even see this, Julian, but glad you're doing better and good to see you back on the mend. So, yeah. Other than that, hopefully some people's going to come rolling in here soon, start chatting with us. We're going to finally knock this Black and Blue album out of the way, the In Heat album. So come on in here. Talk to us about the album. Talk to us about any KISS-related topics if you want. And hey, there's Javier. What's up, Javier? So yeah, a lot to catch up on. We got a lot of cool stuff going on with the poll. And probably some comments as usual. So let's just go ahead and start getting into this stuff as we let some people roll in here.
Absolutely. All right. So, let's get into some comments. Now, I may have read this one in the last episode. I actually kind of forget. It's been a minute now. I kind of forgot. I recognize most new comments, but this one I couldn't remember.
Right.
So this one is on the All Systems Go episode.
Mm-hmm.
We got Robbie Stars, who says, I totally love this album. He did give us his ratings. We got those in. His top 3 for All Systems Go were Ecstasy, That Time of Year, and Ashes to Ashes. He gave that album a 9 out of 10. He says guitar solos are more melodic and better songs than on the debut. Rock on.
Interesting.
Definitely. Just saw Aaron Philpott tune in too. Well, how's it going, man?
What's up, Aaron?
Hey.
Yes. All right, so we did get that. Let's see. I think the only thing that changed on the All Systems Go game board was we went up to 5.5 out of 10 average overall, up from 4.9.
Pretty cool.
Yes.
You guys probably hear my kids going crazy in the background. I do apologize, but that's what happens when they're home from school for a few weeks.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
We've also got a comment from Jay Rucker on the Fraley's Comet Second Sighting episode. Actually, we've got 2 comments on this. So the first from Jay Rucker, he says, I give Second Sighting a 7.5. The singles were Insane and It's Over Now. The album got the number 81 on the Billboard Top 22 and number 79 on the UK album charts. He gave us his top 10 for that. His top 3 were Fallen Angel, Juvenile Delinquent, and Insane. So we got that all put up. That didn't change the actual rankings for Second Sighting, but it did take our overall up to 5.6 out of 10, up from 5.3. So that's pretty cool. Also got a comment from Robbie Stars on the Second Sighting episode saying, Into the Night and Rock Soldiers are the only songs I like off this album. I think he means the first album. Second Sighting is my favorite Fraley's Comet album and is truly underrated in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't even remember hardly what that album sounds like at this point.
It's been
since the last time we listened.
Yes. We have also got a couple of comments from, this is the Kiss Chikara episode. So technically the last episode. immediately prior to our multiple live disastrous attempts.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, Aaron says hi, and also my dad just tuned in.
Hey,
How's it going?
How did you
big guy.
Oh yes. Let's see. Aaron says All Systems Go is a totally killer album. His top three: Naughty Naughty, Dirty Rhythm, and Ashes to Ashes. His overall score is an 8 out of 10.
Yep.
Nice.
Yes, awesome. You know what? Since we're here and we're live, let me pull up the game board for that, and we'll do this live.
We'll do it live.
Yeah. I wish we could pop the game board up onto the screen.
So again, for people that are rolling in, if you didn't catch us in the beginning, hey, just feel free to chime in. Thoughts on the albums, any random Kiss topics you guys want to bring up, discuss. We'll make some time, and this is pretty cool. I'm glad we got it to work, and this may be the way we do the show from now on. So we'll see.
Yep.
Absolutely. Okay, so cool news. Adding in Aaron's overall score, 8 out of 10, actually pops that album up to a 5.8 out of 10 overall rather than 5.5. So
Okay.
there you go. Happened
Cool.
in real time.
Yeah.
I can't stand the glare of the TV on my glasses. I cannot fix it.
Okay, so comments on Chikara here. We've got several. Several are from Jay Rucker, actually. So Jay asks first, are you going to do an episode about Destroyer Resurrected? Because I just got a copy of the Walmart exclusive orange version of that album, and I think it's amazing.
We're live.
Cool.
Yes.
I don't think that was on our list because there's differences on it, but if you guys really, really want us to do it, if we get enough input, we'll be more than happy to add it to the list. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I'm into it. Yes. Dad says hi, and also Michael Groves just tuned in. How's it going, guys?
hey,
Hello.
All
hey,
right.
hey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
my voice
also-
is echoing. It's like coming through Luke's speaker, I think.
Is it? I'll turn my speakers down a lot.
Yeah. Yep. Check. Still barely hear it. It's probably not as bad, is it, Dan? I'm about to mute my mic anyway with the kids screaming in the background.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We also have a comment from Tom Roon Brandt on the Chikara episode. He says the Chikara symbol is first used on the cover of Hotter Than Hell. Eric Carr started to use it in the 80s.
Correct. Your voice is now lower.
Yeah, I turned my mic down hoping that it would make you echo less.
Hmm.
Let's see.
Dan said it's better now.
Chipmunk voice.
And
Chipmunk
Michael
voice.
Grove said yes, do Resurrection.
We'll add it on the list.
Yep.
Let's see. That one was fairly recent. Was that before Gene put out the Vault?
Yes.
That's what I would have thought.
Because the original release of that was like right around, I want to say it was right around the time Monster came out, actually. And then they just reissued this orange vinyl that's been a Walmart exclusive.
Right. All right. There you go. It's officially added to the list.
All right.
Fine, you got your way, guys.
Jeez. Oh, and there's Magenica.
Majanica. Hey,
My sister.
Imagine.
sister.
Yeah.
So did you update the game board yet
For
those scores? You already did that?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Any other comments?
We do. We've also got Jay Rucker on the Chikara episode. He's given us his ratings for Chikara. He gave it a 7 out of 10. His top 3 for that were I Love It Loud, Love Gun, and War Machine. So got that all put in there, and that actually didn't change the overall ranking, but it did actually put War Machine into the number 3 spot, knocking out Heaven's on Fire.
I like
It
that.
knocked it down too.
Yeah, like a lot. Heavens on Fire went from 3rd place to like 6th place.
I'm happy with that. I think all three of those Creatures tracks should be in the top three for that album.
It was good. I was very impressed looking at it, the ranking it had before and the ranking it has now, to see
Mm.
a Kiss greatest hits album with all 80 songs in the top 3. That's definitely unusual.
Yeah.
That might be about the only one because when we do like Greatest Kiss or whatever, that's probably going to be, you know, dominated by like the 70s stuff, I imagine.
Right. We do have one more comment on the Chikara episode, and you guys ought to go check this one out. I won't read the entire thing, but Jay Rucker actually gave us his entire Dream Kiss final show set list, and it's huge. It's on there. It's great. You gotta go down there and read it. He's got what date he wants it to be, the venue he wants it to be in. It goes beat for beat when a person comes out on stage and when they leave. Which makeup and costume Peter and Ace have.
Yeah.
Um,
It's cool.
he's got the Kiss Symphony coming out to do Beth. Uh, oh, it's great. You guys got to go check it out. It's awesome. Yes.
He's got what, 50 songs on
50
there?
songs on there,
50
yes.
songs on there.
It,
Yep.
Good
it
Lord.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is definitely, it
That's a big
runs the
one.
gambit and it's good, yeah.
But yeah, it's really good.
So
I don't know if
guys
I don't
go
know if those guys can handle 50 songs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that, and he also has every living member of Kiss come back out on stage to play a couple of songs, and the first song they all play is "Crazy Crazy Nights." And I'm just going to go ahead and light the comments on fire by saying there's no way that Ace could play "Crazy Crazy Nights," not even a little bit.
They barely were able to play Heavens on Fire and Lick It Up.
Yeah.
Eddie
Yes.
Furlong, that would be a great guest to have on the show. Anyone that was in that movie.
Yes, definitely.
Get on it, Michael. Get us some contacts.
All right, so our only remaining comments here now, we do have Steve and Rochelle McGowan's picks for Black and Blue in Heat. As per usual, we've got their stuff on here, so just real quick. Steve gave this album a 4 out of 10 overall. His top 3 were Stranger, Snake, and Great Guns of Fire. Rochelle also gave this gave this album a 4 out of 10, and her top 3 were Great Guns of Fire, Live It Up, and Stranger. So now, let me get album info up because for some reason I forgot to do that.
Well, how about all these polls that we have?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, I am so excited to get done with this album because I hated it. I've been sitting on it, stewing on this thing for like 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah, same. Oh yes, Javier, definitely agree. Hope that we can still see Kiss. That in September, right?
Yeah, a lot of the word is that they're supposedly kind of postponing all the shows right now. Hopefully to be rescheduled. I saw something today that Doc is doing some sort of online chat. Maybe it's, I don't know if it was today or maybe it's like tomorrow. So I'm sure maybe we'll find out a lot more once that happens. Hopefully.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So the polls have taken an interesting turn because last Friday was the day we got our house, and so actually the 3 of us that you see here spent like the entire day moving stuff from place to place into our new house. We didn't end up getting to do a show, and also because we were busy doing that, I forgot to post the polls and didn't remember that I hadn't done that until Tuesday. So at that point, I figured we'd go ahead and.
There's old Steve.
Hi,
Steve. How's it going, Steve? I figured we might as well do something I've been thinking about doing with the polls anyway, which was post more than 3 matches a week so that we can actually get through this first round sometime today. Sometime this year, I guess. So started posting 6 matchups a week instead of 3. So 6 of them were posted Tuesday. The polls aren't over on those yet. You can still go vote on those if you haven't, but I did go ahead and post 6 more today. So lots and lots of matchups. You can go check that out.
And again, I know a lot of people were going to say, and I'm glad you put a note that this stuff again is entirely random, because
Yes.
I agree that some of it looks like it could have been staged that way, but since there's so many Peter songs and
This week's 6 may be the best example of random generated matchups, because some of them are a joke.
yeah.
So let's talk about that. The last time we posted 3, we haven't got to talk about that yet. So several weeks ago, we posted "I'll Fight Hell to Hold You" versus "When Your Walls Come Down." On that matchup, "I'll Fight Hell to Hold You" won 74% of the vote there. So pretty hard win there, and that was interesting to see people talk about 2 different songs, both from Crazy Nights, which we all know a lot of Kiss fans dislike that album entirely. So it was interesting to see people talk about that.
That was kind of another which song sucks the worst type thing, like the one we had from the Animalize, I think it was.
Yeah, some people were definitely going for that. We also posted "Paralyzed" versus "Tonight You Belong to Me." "Tonight You Belong to Me" crushed that one with 80% of that vote. Wasn't too surprised on that one. I think I also voted for "Tonight" on that one, but I like "Paralyzed." I was a little disappointed to see it lose that badly. Also, "God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2" versus "Prisoner of Love." Big surprise. "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" with 86% of that vote. That one I was disappointed. I love "God Gave Rock and Roll to You," but "Prisoner of Love" is one of my personal favorite songs that most people don't talk about for Kiss, and I was super disappointed to see that one lose so bad.
I feel like at this point in time, "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" has become another anthem, like almost up there with "Rock and Roll All Night." Dare I say, like it's kind of taken on that kind of meaning now to us fans.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. So let's talk about the 6 I posted Tuesday. Now, like I said, those polls aren't done with yet, but we'll just talk about where they're sitting right now, because I'd say it's safe. It's fair to say they'll probably stay about the same. So we'll take another look at them when that poll is officially closed. We have "Charisma" versus "Rise to It." Currently, "Charisma" is winning that with 73% of that vote. Not super surprised with that one. Again, in a way, it's kind of old Kiss versus new Kiss, Also have "Ain't Quite Right" versus "Snowblind." Currently, "Snowblind" is winning that with 68%. Lots and lots. That one had almost 300 votes on it. So,
Jeez.
yeah,
wow.
Crazy. Definitely the most, and probably the most arguing in the comments on whether Paul's album is worth listening to or not.
Wow.
Oh, come on, Aaron. "God Gave Rock and Roll to You" is a great song.
Oh, I'm glad to see you love "Prisoner of Love," though. That's one I've always loved, and it's just, most people don't even like "Hot in the Shade" at all, the whole album, let alone that particular
Yeah.
song. We've also posted "You Wanted the Best" versus "Shout It Out Loud," which sparked a lot of interesting conversation there. 87% of the vote going to "Shout It Out Loud" at the moment. Yeah, Dad's got an interesting comment there.
Yeah.
Yes. I picked "Shout It Out Loud" in that one. I don't know about you guys. I've always really loved the song "You Wanted the Best," but a lot of the people that were commenting on that one had a very good point. They were pointing out "You Wanted the Best" is one of the only, if not the only, Kiss song with all 4 original members singing. Therefore, it deserves to win, which is definitely an interesting argument.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty bad though. It's like all 4 originals sing on it, but they don't even play on it.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Come on. Slap in the face.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. We also posted "Turn on the Night" versus "Read My Body." Right now, "Turn on the Night" is absolutely crushing with 89%. I can't imagine that's going to turn around.
Could you give us a couple lines of "Read My Body," please?
You know what? Let me look them up. They're worth it.
Oh no.
Open your books to the book of "Hot in the Shade."
And immediately burn it.
Yeah, yeah. Verse 2 reads, "Would you like to go on a moonlight ride? Do you think you want to show me what you're like inside? Show me, oh. Would you like to touch? Do you want to know how good it can get? How far it can go? Ooh, let's go."
Let's go.
Oh, philosophical, I tell you.
Yeah, I tell you, it's something right there. At least you can say Eric Carr used multiple different cowbells on that song, making it the undisputed best Kiss song. So we've also posted Tough Love versus Crazy Crazy Nights. Of course, Crazy Nights there is winning right now with 75% of that vote. That's another one. I like Crazy Nights, but Tough Love is another one of my personal underrated favorites. And so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he had a lot of Chikara with those cowbells there.
Yeah. Yes. Last one posted Tuesday is Hell or High Water versus Watching You. So, again, unsurprising there. Watching You is winning that with 86% of the vote. There's no way that one's going to turn around. Early Kiss versus 80s Kiss. No hope. Yes, so, we just got Mary Nysonger jumping in here. How is it going, Mary? Say hi to Polly for me.
Maybe Paulie's
Hi,
sitting
Paulie.
there with her.
Yes. Dad commented on here. He said last week's polls, I felt like I picked winners, but this week there are a couple I'm nervous about. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see how the 6 posted today come out.
Majenica put bowel cells.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yes. So this week.
What is bow cells?
It's a
Cowbells,
spoonerism
yeah.
on cowbells.
Gotcha. Bow cells.
See, it's funny once you get it.
I'm slow. I'm mildly retarded.
It happened. Oh, Aaron.
Wow, Steve song.
The opening, yeah, Prisoner of Love reminds me of the Full House theme song. That is amazing.
If only they did a do-do-do-da-da-da at the end of it.
Totally. All right, so this, the ones posted today, the 6 posted today, we've got Tomorrow versus Tossin' and Turnin'. Forewarning, there's a lot of Peter Criss solo albums this week. I don't know why.
Again, it wasn't rigged.
Yeah, no, this is completely random generated. We've got probably the biggest joke matchup of the entire first round, Hot and Cold from Sonic Boom versus Deuce.
I don't know, man. We've said that a lot, so we're going to have to figure out which one really was the biggest joke.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, if this poll continues the way it is right now, because from the moment it was posted to this moment in time, it's 100% to Deuce. So if it stays that way, Hot and Cold will be our first song with 0% of the vote.
Oh my God, that might happen.
I'm curious. So we've also got Kissin' Time versus I'm Gonna Love You.
That was a little tough.
Yeah. Yep. Neither song super into personally on that, so I'm curious to see how that one comes out. We've also got another pretty big joke, which has sparked a lot of controversy in the comments. I Love It Loud versus That's the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes.
Wait, there's already arguing? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there is arguing as to why Sugar should win that one. So,
oh God, that's great.
That's the only song on the Peter Criss solo album that I actually like.
Yeah, that is one argument for it.
I didn't vote for it, but
right.
Like,
I did vote for Love It Loud, but I do like the Kind of Sugar Papa Likes.
yes.
You should really listen to that album again. I wish you were doing this when we did that album.
Yeah. Yeah.
You might find that you like other stuff on there too.
Yep. I know we did. We were both pleasantly surprised when we did that episode.
Yeah.
Now this one is only a joke because this one we posted is Rock and Roll All Night versus Take Me Away Together as One. and I like the song Take Me Away. I think it's gonna lose, and I have a suspicion that Rock and Roll All Night is gonna win this whole thing. I kinda hope it doesn't, because it's just too obvious.
Do you think it's gonna win the entire best song?
Yeah, I really think when it comes down to it, most people aren't gonna be able to pick a different song over this one.
I'm gonna make a prediction now, live on the air, that it's either gonna be Deuce or yeah. It's gonna be Deuce or Detroit Rock City.
I could totally see that. I think it's going to be one of the hits. Much as I would love to see one you wouldn't expect win it, I kind of don't feel like that's going to happen.
I'm gonna vote for the underdogs.
Nah,
I'm
you
gonna be
might as well.
different.
Our last poll that we posted today.
We already know that based on the White Tiger episode.
Stop it! I
Yeah.
knew you were gonna say that.
I had to.
I was just waiting. I was waiting.
The possibly the most interesting one I think this week is this last one. I'm Alive from Asylum versus Mr. Make Believe from the Gene Simmons solo album.
Sorry, people. I had to go with Mr. Make Believe. Don't throw things.
Yeah,
Love that
I
song.
really like I'm Alive. I like all the fast-paced Paul songs from the 80s.
Oh, God. Steve, get out of here.
It's gonna be one. Classic.
Oh, I can't wait till that one pops up.
Yes. Let me. You know what? I kind of want to look. Have we looked yet as to what that one's going up against?
I don't believe so.
Let me look because I'm curious. I just right now live on the air while we have Steve. I just want to see if he'll actually be able to vote Wiped Out.
Interesting. Javier says his pick is "Come On and Love Me" to win the whole thing. Another great song.
I could see that. I could totally see that. I've missed it somewhere. Was that one already posted?
I got to say, as much as I love the studio version of Rock and Roll All Night, I think "Come On and Love Me" at this point is kind of my favorite song on the album, though.
It beat I'm
I
a
can see
Legend Tonight.
It was already
Wiped
on there?
Out. Wiped Out
Yeah.
did, yeah.
It beat "I'm a Legend" tonight.
Yeah.
I don't recall that.
I don't either. Barely though.
Wow.
Yeah. It was 52-48.
Wow.
So, okay, well, then, you know, while we're here, again, we're live. Here's a Kiss Meets the Podcast exclusive look into round 2. Let's see what Wiped Out's going to be going up against in round 2. Rock Bottom.
Oh, goodbye, Wiped Out.
Yeah.
Talk about Wiped Out.
What do you think there, Steve?
You better get an army of people to vote for you.
Yes. All right, yeah, that's well, that's it for comments and polls.
Okay. Let's get into this dumpster fire of album info.
Yeah, I think the only thing Eli liked about this album was the cover.
Yeah. I'm totally kind of embarrassed that that's the album I had Tommy sign. Now I'm like, God, I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
Yeah, oh, there it is. Steve's weighed in. He says Rock Bottom.
Yeah, Rock Bottom.
Yeah, can't blame you there, buddy. That's... Hey, Al just logged in. How's it going, Al?
Hey, Al.
Hi, Al.
All right, so some album info.
Info?
Info, yeah.
I need the info.
I looked at the word blue when I said it, all right?
Info.
Info.
Michael Grove says Wiped Out will pull a shocker. That I will shave my head if that happens.
I'm quitting the podcast if Wiped Out wins the whole thing.
I will say goodbye to these pretty locks.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so the album we're reviewing today, the Black and Blue album In Heat, which was
What's up, Al?
Yes, their final album with Tommy Thayer. They did record another one or maybe two after this, but this is the last one with Tommy.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yes. This is In Heat, the fourth studio album by the American metal band Black and Blue. This one is also produced by Gene Simmons.
Okay, out of all the Black and Blue albums, now they call this metal. And every other one they've called them like glam rock and stuff.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, figures. This was released in 1988, so right around the time of Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits, shortly after Crazy Crazy Nights. This was recorded at Rumbo Recorders and Club Vital, both in L.A., also at Right Track Recording and Electric Lady Studios in New York. Apparently a guy named Pat Regan is also listed as producer, but... Pat Regan. Okay, I thought I recognized the name there for a second, but I think I was thinking of Brian Regan. But yeah,
I wonder if they're related.
John
mostly
Regan.
Gene Simmons. The lineup is the same as the other Black and Blue albums we've done. This is Jamie St. James on lead vocals, Tommy Thayer on guitar, Jeff Warner on guitar, Patrick Young on the bass, and Pete Holmes on the drums. We also have John Purdell and Pat Regan on keyboards on a couple of songs. I'm not seeing any singles or chart information.
Thank God.
Yeah. Michael.
I totally agree with that.
Sounds like a cat in here.
All right, so we ready to get into her then?
I think so.
All right, so God, again, it's been so long since we've listened to this, I don't even recall what it sounds like. So, just going off the notes here of how much I hated it.
Yeah.
So, opening track, we have Rock On, and I gave this as my number 3. Man, for a second, I thought it was Ace on vocals. It kind of sounded like him to me, and pretty lame start to the album, in my opinion. Had a very Fraley's Comet vibe to it. That's it.
All right. This one was my number 4. I think I noted again, because I'm the same way, like I don't really remember a whole lot about it. I think this track was a different way to open an album. Couldn't tell you now how it opened now. It was mostly just like a chilled out groove, and I was digging it for an opening. Nothing really stood out to me, and I think it was just because it was mostly just the same kind of mood through the whole song.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of just the same flat. Nothing really was like spectacular about it. It just kind of sailed along.
Yes. Number 6 for me on this one. I liked the production. You can hear all the instruments. It was cool to see Gene Simmons produce this one. I did like the chorus of it, but just like you guys, I was surprised at the vocals. They weren't bad, but they weren't, way up in the stratosphere like a lot of the other Black and Blue stuff was. It was in a lot lower register than normal for him.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, going into track number 2, we have Sight for Sore Eyes. This is my number 7. Too much of a soft rock sound for what I expected following the other Black and Blue albums. Not hearing any standout riffs or cool solos from Tommy yet. We're only 2 songs into the album at this point and already feeling disappointed and dreading what could be to come.
Yeah, this one's my number 7 as well. And I just put that I think this one, as much as it's about the same as the first one, it just has a laid back feel to it, and there wasn't really anything particularly exciting about it. That was all I put for that one, because it just really,
right.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it just kind of, it was just flat to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not afraid to say right now, like, every song on this album, I barely had more than a sentence or 2 to say, if that. So.
Yeah.
By the way, you guys in the chat, if you hadn't already given us your rankings for this album, chime in and let us know your thoughts on each song as we go too.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, guys, the next song has exclamation points in the title. So number 5 for Sight for Sore Eyes for me, that snare is so 80s.
Yes.
It was freaking huge. That's right, we're bringing back freaking. Did anybody see the last episode of the podcast?
Freaking.
I hadn't looked up the Wikipedia page until right around this song when we were listening to it, and I looked it up specifically because I heard Jamie St. James go, "I like it," and I'm like, Gene Simmons produced this album.
Yeah.
And I went and looked, and sure enough,
we listened to it together, and that is exactly what he said. We were sitting there, and he goes, "Gene Simmons produced this." I was like, "What?"
Because he went, "I like it," and then later he went, "So fine."
Yeah.
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 Oh, come on.
After he pointed it out, it was like, yeah, definitely.
I know, it's like, it was so like obvious that they just probably couldn't come up with something to write there.
Yeah.
So instead of just screaming, they just put in a Gene Simmons lyric.
Oh, you got me.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, next song.
Right.
So this song is kind of the theme of after eating Taco Bell. Heat it up, burn it out. This is my number 5. Apparently, we are inside of a steel factory all of a sudden at the beginning and end of this song. Totally unnecessary sound effects that have nothing to do with the song and does not help it at all.
This one was my number 2. I actually like this one more, and it was probably because it finally felt like it maybe was starting to pick up a little bit, so I think that's why I liked it more. Um, the drum beat helped pick up the pace a little bit. It wasn't that same, just like flowy thing. Like it was a little bit different. Um, it kind of gave me a rap feel, just without Stephen Piercy's vocals. Like that's kind of the vibe that I got from it.
Ah.
I don't think that the middle section. I noted that it didn't sound very difficult, but it was like a perfect fit for this song. So
Number 7 for me on that one. Um, yeah, I liked the effects at the beginning, and then I liked the heavy guitar riff that came in. But no, I completely agree. It had nothing to do with the song, really. Also, something about the vocals just throwing me off for this one for some reason. The only thing that I really liked about it, other than that heavy guitar riff at the beginning, was the bit in the middle she was just talking about.
Right.
Different, unexpected, and at this point, since everything's just been kind of a mid-pace meh song, anything that kind of caught me off guard was good.
yeah, I think though that if he would have sang high, it would have made it better.
What do you think
Like,
about the jackhammer noises and all that? I mean, you didn't feel like you were in a gritty warehouse? Come on.
yeah.
Yeah, a sweaty worker guy. That's what I want to picture when I'm listening to music.
Oh yeah, shirtless with the little suspenders, the gloves, the hard hat.
He's really dirty for some reason.
Yes.
How'd you know what I was wearing as I listened to this album?
Oh, I see it.
All right, next up is Suspicious. This is my number 2. At this point, it was desperate and hoping that it was going to start getting better. And I mean, it kind of, got to that point here, but then it quickly drops again. But kind of enjoyed the bass and drum groove that starts this song. Again, don't remember how it goes, but also noticing that the drum sounds way electronic on this and not acoustic at all. Pretty clear to me so far that Black and Blue became full bore hair metal at this point. But hey, we finally get some sort of solo from Tommy on this one, though.
Yeah, I said that as well. This was my number 9, but only because I can't decide if I like it or not. I was like, I either like it, I either love it, or I hate it. Like I can't decide which one. I definitely like parts of it a lot, but as a whole, I don't know. I can't. The layered vocals were great, but the chorus was weird. Like I don't know, that chorus was weird in this one. And we finally get a guitar solo, even though it was short. Like I wish it would have gone on a little longer, but finally had one. I can't believe we were 4 songs in and we hadn't gotten one until now.
Yeah,
like that was so disappointing. We finally got one, so I was like, finally, like where have these been?
And Javier says Gene also added stuff like that to the Right to Rock album by Keel, but that album is way better than this album regarding the I Like It and all that. And Steve said he loves that Right to Rock album by Keel. I'll have to give that a listen. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, screw in heat. Let's
let's just jump right into that.
Live review right
now. Suspicious is actually my number 10. And yeah, this one was hard to rank in a way that reminded me of when we did the Kiss albums. Only the Kiss albums, they were hard to rank because I loved all the songs. This one was hard to rank just because everything was just kind of in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this one was last just because. This album, very different from the other Black and Blue albums so far. Not necessarily in a bad way, but I just wasn't expecting such a departure at this point.
Right.
The lower vocals especially have been a big surprise. That was kind of like one of their things.
Mm-hmm.
But all that being said, other than the chorus, I didn't like Suspicious that much. Didn't really catch me. even as well as the first couple of songs did. Really, really hoping for more upbeat songs at that point, and then yeah, just like you guys, I mentioned the where's the guitar solos, and then this one came, and it was like okay, oh, it's over.
Yeah, it was so short. Like, I wish it would have been longer.
Yeah. Next, oh God. Next up is The Snake. This is number 10 for me. It's one thing to call the song The Snake, but then to use the most generic lyrics in the world about snakes, like gonna bite you and gonna swallow you whole, and using snake hiss sound effects just loses my attention immediately. Come on, I mean, so cheesy and generic. Get real. The Snake.
This was my number 6, and um, I like the rhythm in this song a lot. And the solo in this one, I liked more than the last song. Like I felt like it was starting to get better solo wise. Um, but I felt like there was just something missing from this song. I couldn't pinpoint what it was. I have no idea. I still can't even pinpoint now what it was I feel is missing from it, but it felt incomplete. Like there wasn't something there
The
that should
Venom.
have been.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Venom is
Venom, that's
missing
the
for this
thing.
song.
Poison.
And had no balls at all.
Poison
Yeah.
for Cusco. Cusco's poison.
Number 3 for me on this one, and only because I have been complaining about wanting something faster, and then here it came. Um, it had a nice feel. Honestly, I feel like this one should have started the album. Just it would have been at least more energetic. You know what I mean?
True.
It would have been a way better energy driver to kick it off. Uh, and then yeah, the weird repeated notes near the end, pretty annoying.
Not sure if I would have finished the album if it was the first song, but
Yeah.
next is Live It Up, and this is my number 9, and I had absolutely nothing to say about it.
Wow.
Sucks.
This was my number 3, actually. Um, the main riff of this song reminded me of Domino a little bit, or like a Who song,
Mhm.
kind of just with the way that it flowed. I love the chorus of this song, but again, I feel like I'm left wanting more from the vocals in every single song. It just, I feel like he just sings at the same pace. He doesn't really change it up much, which is disappointing. Um, and this was just the first song for me personally that I felt like he kind of did start to change it up a little bit. Because everyone, it just kind of sounds flat. Like, I feel like there's so much more he could be doing, and it's like he came in and knocked them all out in one go. Like, just one take, continuous. Start one, do it, start another, do it, start another, do it. Like, there was no, like, thought put into it. It was just flat most of the time.
This was my number 4. It kind of reminded me of the School of Rock song that plays at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
I liked that this one was again a bit upbeat than the whole rest of the album, and this one seemed to me to be a little bit more typical of Black and Blue, which not a bad thing. And at least there was a freaking guitar solo. Only took half the album, but there was an actual guitar solo.
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost too little too late, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Next is Give Me Your Love. This is my number 4. I did enjoy the riff in this song, but really, again, that was about the only thing I could pull out of this one.
This was actually my number 1. I want to feel your fingers in my danger zone. That is great lyric writing. Like, even though, like, okay, but on a serious note, like, it's my favorite one on the album. I put so far, but on the album, it ended up being my number 1. The drum beat and the guitar and the bass, they were all doing cool things. It was a nice, like, drum fill before the solo. And this is the kind of solo that I've been wanting to hear throughout this whole album. I finally got it on number 7. Like,
Yeah.
more than halfway done, and I finally got a solo I actually wanted to hear. Like, but yeah, that I want to feel your fingers in my danger zone. I just can't with those lyrics. Like, that is some genius stuff. Like,
Gonna bite
I
you.
don't even know if Paul could have sang that, and it would have been like, yeah, I would have been like, no, Paul, no.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. This one was my number 9. Not a big fan of the chorus on this one. Nothing really caught me. I also noted they seem to have saved all the more upbeat ones for the middle of the album, which logistically is kind of a dumb choice.
Mm. Next is Get Wise to the Rise. What a stupid title. My number 6, and I was like, is this AC/DC? Because it totally had an AC/DC feel, and I have no idea why. It was just completely out of the blue and caught me off guard, and I'm like, I actually kind of liked it because it sounded like AC/DC.
This one is my number 8. I like that the drum beat was very solid in the beginning, and then it sounded a little bit of a cleaner guitar tone. Um, but again, I kind of feel like it's just a mid-pace kind of song. Not a bad song, but nothing really great about it either. Just, yep.
Yeah. 8 for me as well. Not sure about the intro. The song gets better as it goes, but just disappointed that we went back to mid tempo. And this one's not even as good as the beginning two, if you can say that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 tracks left, thankfully. Next up is Great Guns of Fire, and I gave this number 1. Some cool guitar work throughout, and especially towards the end. Uh, kind of felt like it's picking up some steam at this point, even though, again, little too late. But and then we even had a little double bass in this song, so for once, it actually did have a little bit feeling of metal for a change.
Yeah.
This one was my number 5. Um, I think that the guitars were doing some pretty cool runs, and just the main rhythm of the song was really cool. It was nice to hear the drums do a little bit of something different instead of just the one beat through the whole song.
Right.
I liked it when Jamie sings in the higher range, and I kind of wish she would do it a little more. Um, I like that the solo was extended a little bit. It doesn't feel like the solos are ever very long, and I wish there was more like this one a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, number 1 for me here. Loved the double bass. Just like we were talking about earlier, at this point, anything on this album that's different, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't feel like we heard a lot of double bass throughout any of the Black and Blue albums, so this was definitely nice. I was the only thing I wasn't 100% on here was the guitar riff through the verse. It's sort of up in the air for me, but I did feel that this was Tommy's best guitar solo on the album.
Yeah.
Agreed. Totally. So, rolling into the last track here is Stranger, and this is number 8 for me. Wow, ending the album on a slow ballad. uh, just when I thought that they might go out with a bang after the way that last track ended, again, was just totally like slapped in the face and, let down, ending the song with a ballad, and again, the whole, unpopular fade out thing and everything. And just a horrible way to take it out.
Yep. This was actually my number 10 for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, right off the bat, though, the eerie feeling of it in the beginning was cool. But again, those vocals in that chorus, if they would have just been so, like, I feel like they could have been so powerful, but it just felt like they were lacking in this song. Like, they were lacking in most of them, but this one, it was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
The bass was really emotional in this song, but this would have sounded better, like, as an acoustic song, I think. If they would have done it acoustically, because it would have matched what he was doing vocally better if it would have been acoustic.
Absolutely.
But the vocals ruined this song. They just did. Like, I was like, Because I even looked at Luke and I was like, do you know how much better this song would be if those vocals in that chorus was just layered and layered and layered, like 10 layers high? You know what I mean? Like, that could have been so good.
I think they were. They just should have been mixed louder.
Right, yeah. And it just, yeah. I was very disappointed overall, but like the ending, like,
It was almost like
I was very
another.
disappointed how this ended.
Yeah, it was almost like another throwaway. Something to throw
Yeah.
on. We needed one more song. Almost
Yeah.
like a lazy attempt to maybe try to get a little hit at the last second. And
Yeah. They should have just let Great Guns of Fire end it.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, this one, I did make this one my number 2, but yeah, the fact that it ends the album hurts it a lot. In fact, I think I would go so far as to say this was the worst choice for the last song of all the songs on this album.
right.
Yeah. Literally, any of the other ones would have
I-
been better than this one.
Yeah, I did really like the clean riff, and the tone of the guitar was really nice. Um, and I felt like too I was hearing Gene's voice in the background vocals, which
Hmm.
I mean makes sense that if they were doing the big '80s layered vocals, why not jump in there?
True.
But yeah, that's just what it came down to. If this had been smack dab in the middle of the album, I bet we all would have given it a lot higher.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Or smack dab in the middle of a better album.
Yeah.
For that
Yeah.
matter.
Well, that brings us to the end of the album. Again, all you guys and gals in the chat, if you did check out the album, we're getting ready to jump into our overall ranking and thoughts. So let us know what you guys thought as well. Um, all right. So overall, I give this album a 1. Um,
Ouch.
for the very first time ever, I was actually going to refuse to name any of these songs to be my number 1 because I honestly didn't feel like any of them deserved it. But then I remembered the Laura Nero album and had to be fair because something has to be number 1. So it's pretty much throwing numbers out. Totally downhill for me on this album. I really enjoyed all of the past Black and Blue albums up to this point. This is the kind of hair metal that I just could never really get into. And as much as I've tried through the years, it's just, I don't know, something about it just never catches me right. Tried to find some good moments to not sound so negative on this album, but, those were just hard to find for me and my ears. Um, like I said earlier, I'm now ashamed that this is the Black and Blue album that I had Tommy sign. Um, I think there's one last Black and Blue album on the list, and I sure hope it redeems the letdown of this album for me.
I don't want to pop the bubble, but I think this was the last one.
I sure hope so, actually, at this point. I didn't want it to get any worse.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the last Black and Blue album.
Thank God. That was a bad way to end it.
Yeah.
I actually gave this album a 5 just because overall I wasn't overly impressed by it. I just wish there would have been more solos and longer solos. Because Tommy is super talented, and I felt like this was a waste of his talent almost.
Yeah.
And I feel like the bass was lacking in parts, and his vocals all around just were disappointing on this album. I wanted there to be so much more power behind them, and it just, most of the songs had that mid-range kind of feel to them.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a bad song on the album, because I feel like all of these songs, like if they would have been like here and there on the better albums, you know what I mean, with their mid-range pace, like that would have been okay. Like they wouldn't be so bad, but it's just like a grouping of bad songs, like not bad songs, but just mid-range kind of okay songs, and I felt myself wanting more from it. I wish it would have there was just so much more potential that could have happened with this. There was a lot more room for improvement.
And maybe this was part of the reason Tommy left the group and wasn't on
Yeah.
the next album. And, because it seemed like he was sort of held back on this one as it was. And,
Yes.
hard to say, but.
Yeah.
Yep. I also gave this one a 5, and that was difficult, but the whole thing felt to me again like just a very middle of the road album. I think I was saying the same thing about was it maybe Second Sighting that I was saying that about?
Yeah,
I
think
believe so.
Yeah, I mean I liked the songs, Actually, I can't think of any of them that I was ready to just turn off because I hated it. But it didn't. Nothing stood out. The whole album, nothing at all stood out.
Yep.
Um, Little tiny bits like that middle section of Rock On, I think, and then the double bass in Great Guns of Fire, and it just wasn't long enough to make the song feel like a standout song. I'm surprised to read online that they were making a conscious effort to make something closer to their first album. I still feel like a lot of this album was like intentionally heavier than both the first albums. There were a couple songs that felt more like the early stuff, like "Live It Up" and "Stranger," but for the most part, it felt to me like an intentional departure, more close to "Nasty Nasty." They were trying to go heavier for "Nasty Nasty." This one felt like less of a departure, but still in that realm. I don't know.
Yeah, because like I said earlier in one of the songs, to me it straight up sounded like, okay, they've like purposely gone to that full blown hair metal sound to try to get more of a commercial, attention, but it, it apparently failed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did. I like the production of the album throughout the whole thing. I could hear all the instruments clearly, and I especially liked the punchiness of the drums. Everything came through nice and clear. The drums were powerful. If I had cranked my speakers, they'd have been popping me in the chest. So whether that was them or that Pat Regan or Gene, good on you for that. That was
Yeah.
definitely good. All of the songs were well performed, as to be expected at this point. Whether they were written well or not is a different point.
Yeah.
Um, Two big complaints that I can think of, and the big one is guitar solos. There were like what, three?
Yeah.
Right.
And Tommy was so good on the last several albums. This
Yep.
was like the first solo I heard on the first Black and Blue album. I was like, holy crap! What is this guy doing in Kiss playing like the Ace riffs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Um, but yeah, where was that on this album?
Yeah.
And the other big complaint is the track order felt completely and absolutely arbitrary. Uh, Way too many mid-paced songs at the beginning. The only upbeat songs grouped together in the middle, and the closest thing on the album to a ballad ending the album. There's no sense in that. They should have started the album with the Snake, put Stranger in the middle or somewhere in there, and ended the album with Great Guns of Fire.
Yeah. I
That
mean,
would have made it so much better.
Well, to try to do a ballad to end, I mean, that's a dangerous thing anyway.
yeah.
To do.
Yeah.
That's a risk that you take when you do a ballad at the very end, and it has to be a strong song. And this one was not a strong
No.
song at all. It was a
Yeah.
horrible way to end the album.
It's one thing if you're ending the album with like a song like Forever or something like that. That's a different story.
Right? Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I still vaguely remember like when we did the first two Black and Blue. I think on both those episodes, I remember saying like, Tommy is underrated, and listen to this for all the naysayers about him. His ability and talents are just above what he's doing in Kiss. But again, it's doing the job. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, and then
this
this
one-
album definitely does not expose that very
Right.
well.
it's
Yeah,
like
it's almost like he, like, just with the singer, it's almost like he just came in and whacked out a few solos and was like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and
and that may be what they made him do. Like, who knows? Like,
Right.
they may
And-
have told him, you got to chill it or turn it down. You know what I mean? And then that, it's a shame because he's just such a talented,
Yeah.
guitar player, and it's just like you want to hear him, you want to hear his talent, and
You
it
know-
just did not come through very well because there just wasn't enough of it.
it's like if because this was what, their third album, fourth album.
Fourth.
So let's say like Van Halen puts out, what was it, probably Fair Warning, their fourth album, or Women and Children, one of those, and you only hear like 3 solos from Eddie on there when you're expecting all this, and then they're minuscule solos on top of that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I'm not comparing Tommy and Eddie in any similarities, but same type of thing. But so yeah, that wraps up this album. Thank God. So we're done. Next week we finally get into this album. I've been this is one of those on the list that I've been looking forward to getting into is Badlands, of course, featuring Eric Singer. So definitely get your votes in for that. Got some nice doozies coming up. So Badlands, and then we go right back into Ace Frehley with the Trouble Walking. Then we get into some more Tommy, but this time, of course, not with Black and Blue, but with Doro Pesh.
That's the one I'm excited
Yeah.
about because I love Doro, and I'm like, I want to hear that so bad. Like, I'm excited for that one.
And then we get back into what is technically in the Kiss catalog, even though there's no proper Kiss members per se, but the Kiss My Ass compilation, which is a fun listen. And then we get back into Peter Chris's solo discography. It feels like it's been a long time since we did a Peter Criss album, so lot of cool stuff coming up. Some of these as always, I'm looking forward to either revisiting or hearing for the first time. And especially this Badlands, I've never had the opportunity to listen to the whole thing till now, so excited to sit down and do that. So make sure you get all your votes in for Badlands and Trouble Walking, for that matter. Don't feel scared to jump ahead. And so that wraps up the episode as far as the album. If has anybody got any random topics or questions you might want to discuss? Otherwise, we're just probably gonna get out of here. And
Well, we got the rankings and all that.
oh yeah, see, it's been a long time, but so yeah, as we're doing the rankings, which I'm so excited to hear. If you guys got any topics or questions you want to pop to us before we get out of here, feel free. Let's shoot them.
Yeah. By the way, Mark did jump in here a minute ago. Hi, Polly.
Hi, Polly.
Oh, Polly. Hey, Polly.
Polly.
Polly Pockets.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, I will still upload this to the YouTube channel as we usually did. Probably edit in the game board like we usually do. So unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it live as we, read them off. But that's just little tiny extra things that I'll add for the YouTube version once, we upload that.
Right. All right. I think I do have all that ready if you guys are ready for that.
I am so on the edge of my seat.
I know. And of all the albums, this one actually had no ties.
Closer with our numbers. So
oh, yes,
this one
Michael
was
Groves.
completely different.
Kiss Meets the Phantom commentary. That is something that we have discussed for a long time. I'm talking back even when Branton was still on the show. And we could definitely do that, especially now with this thing. I'm sure we can do that because it's nothing to upload a video file and have it play on our stream. However, we probably won't be able to do it live just for the worries of getting it blocked as we're doing it live, but we should still be able to record it, and then we can upload that and see what happens. But that's something we could probably still do at some point if we just randomly decide one of these weeks that, hey, let's do that this week instead of one of the albums or something. I mean, definitely would still be a fun idea, I think. I don't know about you guys, but so yeah, we'll definitely keep that in mind pretty soon.
All right. So this album ended up with a 3.8 average overall.
Yes.
Yes, very low. I was just kind of taking a peek over what is lower than that. And I'd say it makes sense. It's higher than Chelsea, higher than Dan Hartman's Instant Replay, definitely higher than Laura Nero, which still holds the record low with 1.3.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
See, I don't agree with it being higher than Chelsea at this point, and that's my opinion.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I definitely did not care for Chelsea at all. It's just barely over Was Not Was, Born to Laugh at Tornadoes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty sad. It is lower than White Tiger, which I'm not sure I agree with.
I do.
Yeah.
Record the audio file and use a thumbnail and tell listeners where to link up at. Yeah, you could probably do that. Because I can. It's got a thing on this service that we're using to stream where you can send a link to people to join in. So whether it's video or just audio, if that's kind of what you're getting at, if you're wanting to join us for it.
Indeed.
Okay, let's get into these rankings.
All right. So in 10th place, Suspicious.
Yeah,
Oh, yep. Ninth place, Sight for Sore Eyes.
yeah,
In 8th place, Get Wise to the Rise.
good,
Yep. 7th place, The Snake.
good.
In 6th place, Heat It Up, Burn It Out. Had to say it like that. Exclamation points. In 5th place, Give Me Your Love. In 4th place, Stranger. And our top 3 for In Heat in 3rd place, Live It Up. In 2nd place, Rock On. And in 1st place, Great Guns of Fire.
Okay.
Everybody, sit down, everybody. It's not that
All
big a
right.
deal.
I'm like looking. I like it's pretty bad because I don't even remember what I named number one. So I'm like, oh yeah, let me look. Oh, Great Guns of Fire. Go figure.
I think you and Luke both have that as number one.
That's
Yeah,
the only
and,
reason.
Steve too.
All right, so now we are officially done with that album. So,
Flush it and move on.
yeah, flush it. There you go. You need some extra toilet paper. Use that album.
For sale.
Yeah.
All right. Has anybody got any questions or topics you want to talk about? Otherwise, we're gonna get out of here in just a minute. So, shoot them out now if you got any.
What you got?
But
What you got?
what you want? Well, in the meantime, though, I guess I guess this went pretty well. Our first time finally doing a live show. Finally figured out all the bumps after all these weeks, and definitely appreciate all you guys and girls for joining in, taking the time to join in with us and participate, and especially now with all the craziness in the world. Hopefully, we were able to give you guys a little bit of entertainment for the time being, as you all are pretty much stuck in your homes at the moment. Steve wants to know what was his number one. He doesn't remember.
His number one was also Great Guns of Fire.
Great Guns of Fire.
You know, I
Good.
am kind of sad that our first live show and this was the album we did.
I know, right? Because we had it originally set up for that Chikara, which would have been great.
Yes. That
So-
would have been so much better.
That's why I can't wait once we hit maybe the Ace or even the Kiss My Ass. Maybe that'll get a lot more interaction as well. What was Rochelle's number one? He said.
Let me look again. I'm pretty sure it was Stranger. But I will pull it back up and look again real quick.
Ooh. You know, Michael Groves just asked if Carr was still alive, do you believe he would still be in Kiss?
That's funny.
And
we were just talking
We
about that.
were. Me and Luke, when we went to my doctor's appointment the other day, were listening to Kiss in the car, and that was actually, I asked Luke that. If Eric Carr was still alive, do you think he would still be in Kiss? I think he would. I think he would be.
Quick input
Why
here.
so?
Rochelle's number one was Stranger.
Also,
Yeah,
real
that's-
quick before we get into that, sure enough, just a few weeks after Kiss My Ass, we do have the Greatest Kiss compilation. So that one should make up even more so for the Chikara. So that one hopefully will get a lot of interaction from you guys. But so why do you think Eric Carr would still be in the band?
I think he would be because I feel like the sound that he brought to Kiss was so good. And his sound was always so great. And of course, mixing it and producing it, that always adds as well. But just his play style, and it just brought this different sound to Kiss that was so great. That era of Kiss is my favorite era of Kiss
Yeah.
because it's just all those songs I felt have so much emotion and power and just, I mean, they're just all great, you know. And it makes me wonder how, you know, like if he were still in it today, you know, with Monster and Psycho Circus, like how that would have sounded. Not that Eric Singer is a bad drummer, he's not at all, but it's like, what would it have sounded like if Eric Carr would have been the one to drum on those? Like, how
Mhm.
different would it have been? How, you know, like, just get like thinking about it, I get goosebumps from it. Like, I just love the sound that he brought to Kiss, and like, he was just such a cool guy, you know. I just, I wish I could have met him. I wish it would have been,
Yeah, me too.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think really it brings up a lot more questions because then that brings to mind, would there have been a reunion tour, and if even if they had done a reunion tour, let's say they do MTV Unplugged with Eric Carr, and they decide to do a original lineup reunion, the same thing would have happened. Peter and Ace still would have left. Would Eric have come back? And if he had come back, would they have made him wear the cat makeup, or would they have let him go back to being the fox? Or I mean, to be completely honest, I'm personally not sure he would have come back if they'd have fired him.
Right.
Yeah, if that would have happened, that would have been, you know, a different set of circumstances, obviously.
I think the closest thing we have to like an Eric Carr unplugged with Kiss is that Forever video, since they're all playing acoustics, and
Right.
Right,
that's
yeah.
kind of the closest thing we have to that imagination, I guess. But
I would
um,
hope though that they would have let him keep wearing the fox makeup though. You know, I
yeah,
mean, I know it would have been like an original kind of thing they were going for, but like that was, you know, specifically his thing. You know what I mean? Like I hope that they would have, you know, made the decision to let him keep wearing that.
knowing what I know now, as far as there was starting to be a lot of tension and disagreements and stuff, I think even if he hadn't gotten sick, but even okay, he did get sick. So let's say even in the world that he would have recovered, I think either way he was on his way out of the band by then anyway because of the arguments and disagreements. Paul's even come out and said that there was a lot of things left unsaid that it really hit him. After he was gone, after a while, it hit him at some point. But I like to think that at some point, like maybe they would have still done the reunion, but then again, fate would have happened where Peter didn't work again. I think at that point, Eric Carr would probably have come back to the band and maybe be in the band today as we know it. Because again, time heals itself. I'm sure Paul would have done the right thing, and Eric loved him. When it comes down to it, but there was just things that he started having weird you know issues in his mind about things, and when Paul did the solo tour and Eric wanted to be the drummer, and he chose Eric Singer instead, and Eric told Eric Singer backstage at a show apparently that you're going to replace me one day, I know it's going to happen, and Paul's like, oh no, you're our drummer, so things like that. And yeah, I think he would have definitely still would have been the Fox had he come back. And because I mean, they went so far as the Eric Singer wearing the Fox costume and then the cat makeup, which again was weird. That's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would like to think that Eric Carr would demand to wear the fox makeup if he
oh,
came
absolutely,
back.
Yeah.
absolutely. So I really think that that's what probably would have happened, how things would have unfolded. Um, I wish it's one of them things.
Yeah.
But yeah, so but yeah, like you were saying, Savannah, like how would some of those out like Sonic Boom or Monster or whatever, how they would have sounded? My God, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
And I
I just
still wish they would have put out a live three. Should have been the Eric Carr and maybe maybe not Vinny, but at least Bruce Kulick lineup.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
should have been a live three, and then do a live four as what they put out as a Live 3 or whatever if they had to.
Right.
Yeah, it was always kind of I've always kind of wondered why we never did get a proper live album with Eric, because Eric and Ace is one of my favorite lineups just as much as Eric Singer and Ace. Like I felt like both of those versions just clicked so well together. And again, not taking anything from the original four because that's what started it all. But there's something to me that's special about those two versions, with Ace and then whether it's Eric Carr or Eric Singer, he just had a good, he clicked so well with those guys. And I know Ace and Eric Carr, got along really well and we're great friends. I mean, my God, when we met him at the expo a few years ago, was wearing that shirt you're wearing, Savannah, and he still made a comment. He's like, "Oh, we miss Eric Carr. We love him," and kind of pointed that out. And, it was a cool little thing. So, good question, Michael. Anybody else got anything?
I actually told Luke, I said, I wonder what it would have sounded like if he would have been able to do a solo album, like, when they went off and they all did their own solo albums. Like, that would I just feel like that would have sounded so cool. Like, I would have loved that so much because I just love his sound so much.
Yeah,
And I just thought that, I told Luke, I said, I wish that he could have done a solo album like that. Like, that would have been so awesome for him to have been able to, do that. Like, what that would have sounded like.
yeah, I agree. We kind of have like versions of what could have been a solo album, with the Rockologist stuff that they put out, and there was that other
Right.
Unfinished Business, but it maybe could have been better. And Steve, I totally agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it got to the point where Eric was playing those songs so fast, and in the live setting, that it was a little hard to watch at that point. And again, who knows? Like maybe he was doing that on purpose because he was getting frustrated. Who knows? Just like we we always heard stories of Peter, starting to purposely sabotage shows during the Dynasty and tour and everything because he was, getting to where he was sick of it. And who knows? Maybe that's one of the reasons. But
That is pretty typical of every band, though. And it's something you don't even realize when you're on stage. If somebody films it, you go back and watch later, and you're like, "Holy crap!"
yeah,
Yep.
It never felt that fast on stage. That's insane.
true.
It could have just been something as simple as that. It doesn't happen nowadays because they perform to a click.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like being a drummer, there's times I've been on stage and I felt like I was, playing at a pretty solid pace, and then I'd watch the video back and I'm like, "Holy cow!"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I
Luke's
didn't
sister.
feel like I was going that fast. But
Yeah.
sometimes
Luke's
that adrenaline,
sister. Yeah,
but
Luke's sister's like that as well.
yeah,
When they were in their old band together,
yeah,
I mean, she was a beast, and it was just
yeah.
like they'd start it, and then all of a sudden it would be over, and it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! But she wouldn't even realize she was doing it. It
Mhm.
wasn't a conscious thing that you think about. Like the adrenaline gets pumping and stuff, and the energy gets flowing, and you just. I mean, you get into it, so it's like you
There
can
were
lose yourself in it for sure.
there were times we used to perform Black Sabbath's Paranoid, and there were times I'm pretty sure we would play that whole song in under a minute.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I don't even know if Magenica's still in here, is she? She hasn't said nothing since Balso.
Yeah.
I don't know. We demand explanation.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I do agree. After it seemed like after the Creatures tour, and I don't know, maybe after Animalized, because that Animalized Live Uncensored, I don't feel like it's too fast, like compared to what he started doing, like by like the Crazy Nights tour and everything. Like I could live with that tempo, but yeah, it seems like by Crazy Nights or even Asylum or so, he just started going, like a mile a minute,
Yeah.
especially that snare intro to I Stole Your Love that he threw in for some reason.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap this thing up and get off here then. Some good questions and topics brought up there. Let's get more of that going each week. This is a fun thing to do, and like I said, especially right now, help get everyone's mind off of things and talk about some Kiss. So, what better way? And so, again, next week's episode is Badlands. Get those votes in, and we shall see you then. We will make another announcement for next week's show just to remind you guys. And we'll see you here on Facebook, all right? I guess that's going to wrap it up then. All right.
Think of some good questions.
Yes. Think of some good ones. Again, thanks everyone for coming in and participating and taking the time to hang out with us. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yep.
All right. Later.
Bye.